Jamal, kill that music. Welcome everyone to episode 162, season 4. And today I have a very special guest on the show. A childhood friend of mine that I have fond memories of. His brother saved my life back in the day when I was getting clowned, when I didn't have a bike and everybody else on the street had a bike. He hooked the brother up. So I'm Brian Bacchus. My co-host is down here.
I'm Jamal Smith. Hello, everybody.
And we'd like to welcome Dr. Brent Musson to the stage.
Absolutely. Applause and welcome. Man.
Hey, y'all.
So Brent.
Yeah.
I know B is going to do a little stuff behind the scenes. He's going to pop back on. But as he had indicated, you guys are childhood friends. So you obviously are connected to Altadena, Pasadena area. Why don't you give us that background? What's your connection?
Sure. So we've known each other since, Brian and I have known each other since, I think around junior high, maybe earlier. But I was not born in Altadena, but I've been here since 1972. My family moved here when I was 4. And so I went entirely through Linda Vista, Jackson, Wilson, Muir, PCC, and then USC. So, I am complete local boy. I served 3 terms on the Altadena Town Council, met my wife at church in Altadena. Our membership is still at the church on the corner of Lincoln and Ventura, Altadena SDA.
Okay.
Raised our families here in Altadena. So, we're tied, to Altadena, real strong. Been here, our whole lives. So, we don't live in Altadena at the moment. I think most of Altadena is displaced from the fires. We actually were out, slightly ahead of the fire.
Okay. Well, good. I mean, I'm glad you guys didn't, were away from it, didn't get injured. But I know you have some family and friends who were affected by the fires. And what was your overall reaction to it? I mean, because I know most of us were just devastated, surprised, never expected this kind of thing to happen. What was your take on it?
So, yeah, we got calls when the fires first started breaking out. My aunt and uncle live all the way over almost to Eaton Canyon, over on Midwick. And so their house was the first one that we heard was in danger. His son lived further over just next to Lake, just west of Lake. And so, we were scrambling, trying to, what can we do? But we're down in the South Bay. So there wasn't, they basically were able to evacuate before we would have made it up there. And so we just kind of were keeping tabs on what was happening and, how quickly it was moving. We had a property that was vacant and for sale over in Porter Ranch. And so that's where we moved my brother and my father, who's 91, into that property temporarily. They were there for a few weeks. But we were just sort of trying to see, do whatever we could, remotely, while the sort of disaster was actually unfolding. As soon as the emergency portion of it, the emergency, we don't know what's happening kind of part of it was ended, and the meetings started, we started driving up on a daily basis. I actually stopped taking contracts, and just started coming up to the meetings just to see what I could figure out what was going on.
Nice.
And then kind of rolled that into, sort of, more meaningful, purposeful work on the effort.
Awesome. I'm sure you were devastated by what you saw as you drove around the community, and it's going to be a hard task to get back, but it will be done.
Well, first, I didn't have the opportunity to be devastated because I couldn't get in. The place was locked down, and at first I was frustrated because I wanted to see we didn't know what houses were there. We didn't know if if any of the houses that I just named off were actually still there. And so we wanted to get in and find out, and the National Guard, had the place locked down. At the time, we were frustrated, but once you calm down, you realize that was for the best, because looters were coming in trying to take advantage of the. So we're glad for the the security and so forth. When I finally did have the opportunity to get up there, it really hit me harder. I knew it was going to hit me hard, but it hit me harder than I thought. And I just. Not only did I have just this gut-wrenching response when I went through, when I came home, I couldn't shake it off. I couldn't sleep that night. I was, I went back and forth between, just emotional. It was just harsh, man. It was harsh. And I felt kind of bad because I wasn't there. I still had my home, and I felt like I didn't, really have the right to have that kind of a response, but it hit me really hard.
No, I definitely had the same response. I fortunately am not in Altadena at the moment, or during the fires. I've been in the Arcadia area for a number of years, but a number of my wife's family lost their homes. Obviously, I grew up in the area as well, so it is devastating to everybody. Yeah. Whether you live there currently or not, it's just tough. Yeah. So kind of with that in mind, apparently not everything was burnt down, right? Like your father's home survived. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And then, you only had maybe one or two other family members' homes that were lost. What were you learning through the meetings and all that stuff that you were attending initially, and how did that transition into what you're currently doing right now with the TEDx Altadena?
Yeah, so I'm a policy guy. My research is policy based. My doctorate is law and policy, and it focuses on housing. So it's right, sort of in my lane. So I was listening with a keen ear to try to understand what the responses would be from the institutions. And so most of the early meetings were actually sponsored and held by attorneys.
Yeah.
And then right after the attorneys, the counties and the state government started setting up these sort of informational meetings. And, I wasn't really hearing some of the policy positions that I really wanted to hear. And I was becoming a little bit concerned about how the community was being sort of split up by lawyers, so the lawyers are necessary. They're necessary in order for us to recover money from Edison or in any kind of way. But for them, it's also a business, and so there's a competition to see who can get the most lawsuits, so that when the class action is assigned, they're the ones who actually lead the class action.
Oh, that's how it works. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not certain that whoever has the most, but that's generally the way it shakes down. Is if you can show that you have the most vested interest, then you're the lawyer who's likely to get the class action lead position. And so one of the ways to count that you're vested is that you have a lot of cases.
Okay, so that makes sense why they jump in so quickly, during disasters.
Yeah,
I've heard about it, but obviously we see it firsthand now.
Yeah,
with these. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing that became really clear was that there are a lot of different ways that the town is sliced up. The lawyers actually are proxy for some of that. So you have some African American lawyers that are civil rights lawyers that came to town that were signing cases. You also have Latino lawyers that are specifically some that are Spanish language primarily. You have sort of majority population lawyers, and so you have these different lawyers, and that ends up sort of de facto slicing the community up by race. But there are also other siloed conversations that are happening about the future of Altadena that slice us up by our economic status. So sort of class slicing, and then you have slicing by geography based on your lot size and which side of lake you're on. And so you have all these different conversations that they're frankly not new. I mean, we grew up in Altadena. We remember what it was like trying to go on the east side of Lake after dark, or head up, anywhere near Webster's after dark. We remember what that was like. For sure. With the sheriffs back then. So we get that, there's a history of this, but Altadena has come a long way since then. And I was a little bit concerned that we're starting to slice up on the same lines again, in this moment. And that was sort of what sparked the idea for TEDx Altadena was it's this unifying conversation that we can have that puts everybody on equal footing. Everyone stands on the same stage for about the same amount of time and has the opportunity to share their ideas and vision, in a way that is available to everyone. And when I say available to everyone, I mean you're talking to your neighbors and you're able to speak, your truth, be able to share your ideas, and your neighbors have to listen. Those are sort of the TED rules: is that it's not a debate. People don't get shouted down. They get to actually express themselves, and everyone has to be polite and clap when it's over. Right.
Interesting. Okay, so that's the format for it. Okay, I don't think I've ever seen one of these, so that's good.
So, do you check out TED Talks on YouTube?
Yeah, I've seen regular TED Talks, but not one of these where it's community based.
So the TEDx events are these independently organized events that sort of do something similar. We still have talks that are, usually on a red rug with a big TED sign behind you, and they're, in limited time. The maximum time on the TED stage is 18 minutes. Okay. The maximum time for us will be about 10 minutes. But the format is the same, where you have someone who's up front by themselves on a stage, and everyone's quiet and listening. And everyone who hits that stage has equal footing. And so it doesn't matter about your economic status or your whether you've been displaced or not displaced, whether you are a person who has great influence in the community, or you're a person who doesn't really have much voice. No matter who you are, you have the same opportunity to share an idea, and it gets equal footing with everyone else. And the TED rules actually work to our favor. So according to TED rules, there's no co-branding. A person can't get up on stage and start talking about their company or their service or their product, or promoting themselves like that. They can't. It's not a commercial. Right. It's an opportunity to just share an idea that can help everybody. And that was sort of the genesis of this the idea to use TED as a way to bring the community together.
So it sounds like a perfect venue or way to have the community share their opinions about what's going on. But how do they limit, or how do they designate who actually gets to speak? Because at 10 minutes a pop, with over 6,500 homes lost, that's going to be a lot of time if everybody got a chance to talk. How do they pick the people?
Yeah, so if you head to the website, TEDxAltadena.com, there is a submission form for people who are interested in taking the stage. Actually, that's on the TED site. Go to TEDxAltadena.com.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's the actual sort of on TED.com. So on TEDxAltadena.com, there's a link there where you can submit. What we'll end up with maybe 13 to 15 speakers throughout the day. It's an all-day event, and it kind of slices up. There's the form. So it slices up the day into talks. There'll be some entertainment. maybe some music. We don't know, who has submitted, but there's a submission form for people who, are actually wanting to fill the entertainment portion of it. If you break down what TED actually stands for, it's technology, entertainment, and design.
Really?
And so there's an opportunity for that. It also keeps the crowd alive.
I would imagine, right? You got to have some sort of entertainment there.
Yeah, no one wants to hear someone talk all day, but we have a rubric that will be applied, and our intention is to make sure that all of Altadena is represented. And
Okay.
so, but we're also very strict about the TED rules about this, which are that, as I said, it's not a commercial. It's about presenting an idea. And so, we're very, we actually have a speech coach that will be working with the people who take the stage. And she'll also be helping them to keep this thing tidy. And by tidy, I mean, it really has to be a presentation of an idea, one idea, not 10 ideas. It's not, there are opportunities for people, and it's really important that we spread just our stories, but this isn't about our stories at this point, except that those stories are context for ideas.
Correct.
So that's and that's not just our thing. That's what TED is. It's ideas worth spreading is actually their tagline.
All right. So it does. I know we didn't talk about when it's actually going to happen or what have you, but I see here it's going to be on Sunday, October 26th. From 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it will be at the Altadena Main Library, which is 600 East Mariposa Street in Altadena. That's very good to hear. So it looks like the deadline is the 10th. When I went up here to the link to fill it out, I'm sorry, when I go over here to speakers and performers, looks like the deadline is the 10th. Now, is it that once the people are chosen, do they get to practice several times until they get their speech done, or at least, perfected to the best that they can, so that when they do present it, it'll be presented in the best way possible? Because I had a friend who actually did a TED Talk, like a regular old TED Talk, and she said she had to go through, multiple iterations of her actual speech because she did have to meet with folks. So it sounds like that's the main purpose for having the speech person there.
Yeah. So, this is a local event, and it's we're trying to, we don't want people to feel like they have to be professional speakers.
Mm-hmm.
We actually want to hear from people who are, Altadenans who are impacted. And so, the idea here is to get real people, but we also want to make sure that those real people are presenting their ideas in the most effective way. So yes, there will be live rehearsals of the speaking. Part of our selection process includes actually, reading the actual talk itself and then reviewing a videotaped version of that actual talk.
Okay.
That's part of the selection process. And so it is, for us, it's two things that we're trying to accomplish here. One is we want to give voice to people who have ideas in the community that may not necessarily have an opportunity to share their ideas, elsewhere. That's part of it. The other part of it is that we want to provide the right ears in the room. So your neighbors will be in the room. And we also want to make sure that there are people there who can take those ideas and actualize them, operationalize those idees. So, those two things are part of our objective.
So, is there a host for this actual event during the whole, time?
There is. We haven't announced her yet, but there is a host. But I will give you guys the scoop on who our host is. Okay. So I don't know if you're familiar with Mimi Brown, but she is she's an Emmy-nominated journalist who has spent the last 7 months doing work on for Altadena, She's on the Breakfast Club regularly talking about Altadena, but she also created a podcast called To Altadena with Love.
Yes, we had her on the show.
Okay.
A couple of months ago.
She is the host, or the MC, I should say, of the program. She actually also interviewed me on To Altadena with Love. The bonus episode, is I'm featured on that one if you get a chance to check it out. But she's going to be our MC, and I am really looking forward to seeing her, really help us to make this a really tight event.
Yeah, it sounds like amazing. Yeah, go. I have to step away for one quick second. Got to plug my computer in. Sorry about that. I'll be right back.
So, Brent, we were talking about this earlier, but I believe this is one of our residents, Damon Moore. He's up in Vegas now. He said, "Have you guys spoken on the Kenya Barris and Mike Epps comedy sitcom about Altadena?" We talked about this offline, Damon, and basically some people say, "Oh yeah, let's do it." Some people say, like myself, it's too soon. We're in the fray of coming back. Now, I can see if we have our houses built already, then that might be something that I would never watch. Yeah, that's my personal opinion. But I think that if you did something like a documentary style, maybe. But if you're not, and it's coming off like, I didn't see any comedy sitcoms for Katrina.
Right.
Didn't see them for the hurricanes. Didn't see them for the floods. But now all of a sudden, and here's my question. Why pick Altadena? Why not pick Hollywood Hills or Palisades or Malibu? That would probably be more of a draw. And I'm sure those people over there feel the same way. Like, I wouldn't watch that. It's like watching your demise relived over and over again. It just doesn't make sense to me, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have an opinion until I see it. I hope that it will be something that Altadena can be proud of, that won't be further damage emotionally. I have to say that I really enjoyed Blackish, and the other work that he's done has been very thoughtful. It kind of reminded me of the Cosby Show, where there are a lot of lessons and a little bit of comedy sprinkled in. I can't really say what this will be until I actually see it. I think it's a high risk move for sure, but we'll see. Yeah,
Jamal, what do you think? Have you seen the rumors, the comments?
Well, when I first heard it, I was a little surprised. It did seem a little raw. 7 months after the event, I did feel like it was a little early, but to Brent's point, and I always see both sides of the coin. I was also thinking, I'm pretty confident he's going to approach it, at least I hope, in a very delicate manner and handle it with the respect and dignity that it deserves. So I kind of want to see, right? But I also wish that he kind of had maybe even a community meeting just to discuss the possibility of having it before just going ahead. So he still has the opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah, I think that it's always best to go ground up instead of top down.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that I heard that he's from Altadena. I wasn't aware of that, and I haven't verified it, but that's what I've heard is that he's from Altadena. Mm-hmm. If that's so, that changes things a little bit. But it also, to me, what really struck me is that he has this particular brush to paint with, and so if he's trying to use the platform that he has to bring awareness and to to keep Altadena in the zeitgeist, then it may be something that can work. It's also, like I said, it's risky. But I can't blame him for using the one brush that he has to paint with. I've only seen him do this type of work successfully, massively successful, I should say. And so we'll see. We'll see.
And it could be that he is deliberately doing that to keep Altadena in the limelight. Whereas we know, and Brian has mentioned it many a times, Tony as well, when disasters happen, there's a lot of bright lights on us, and then quickly people run away when the shine kind of goes away.
Yeah.
So it might be his method of keeping the light on Altadena, and maybe even showing the progress with each of the episodes. But we'll have to see. What were you going to say, B?
No, I was just saying, media left in February because there's another disaster going on. It's always a disaster going on.
Yeah.
But what people, and even I can attest to this, Katrina didn't hit me as hard as it would have had I been through a disaster. Because I wasn't there, I was 2,000 miles away. But when you actually go through something, now you see what happens. So when San Antonio floods happened, I was the first one to give $500 to the GoFundMe to that disaster. And let me tell you why. Because when I did a GoFundMe for us, along with everybody else, GoFundMe did a thing where they raised money and they gave every last Altadena GoFundMe $1,000 out of the deal. I know what they do now. I went through it. So now it wasn't hard to give that money to them to help them, because we all need help when that happens. And I'm not one to shun it anymore. Before, you can't give to everything. You get those late night Sarah McLachlan videos with the dogs, you know what I'm saying? The eyes of an angel, all that. And you want to give, but it didn't hit you, it didn't affect you to the point unless you had a dog. Right. Then that's what I'm going to give to. And everybody has their own personal donation stations that they give to. I just felt that this was close to the cuff because we just experienced it and we were given something out of it. It's only fair to keep helping this platform. And you're going to get a lot of people. They just ripping people out. And I get tired of the naysayers until it happens to them and they get it. Then they go, oh, I understand now.
Yeah. No, I think that, everybody will have an opportunity to to do what they can. And if this is the way that he's moving, then if he were to speak on the TEDx Altadena stage, and I haven't seen in the applications, I doubt that he has has submitted, but if he were to have be giving a TED talk, then I think he'd probably be talking about how entertainment and even comedy is a medium that can be used to heal or something like that. Maybe that's his thesis for doing this. I can't speak for him, but that actually sort of I think it kind of cements the reason for something like a TEDx stage, where people can explain themselves, can explain their ideas, can present things that cut crossways against what other people may already be thinking. Their predisposed kind of position may be very different from what they hear on the stage, and that's, I think, sort of the beauty of community. We have people who are entrepreneurial. We have people who go to a job. We have people who work for institutions like the government. We have people who are retired and people who are living off of their parents, their inheritance from their parents. We have people who fit in every category, and they see things differently. So when for instance, the county has policies around that are pushing the idea of building like for like. That is sort of a go-to in disasters, is to streamline the idea of people getting their house back. That doesn't fit everybody's narrative, and so if you're underinsured and your insurance maybe doesn't cover the full cost of rebuilding your house, but certainly doesn't cover the cost of replacing all of the toxic dirt that was left behind after the Army Corps came through, right? And then replacing it with new dirt, and then doing grading and all of that, and then you have to landscape. You know, when it doesn't cover all of that, and you say, okay, well, you build like for like, that means that if you had a paid off house that burned to the ground and your insurance covers part of it, then you end up with a substantial mortgage all of a sudden just to get back what you had before, right?
Very true, very true.
But there, you know, the recent density legislation out of Sacramento allows people to break even at least, or maybe even become, you know, make a profit, you know, in this tragedy. So if you, instead of putting back just your house that you had, if you increase the improvements on your property, maybe, you know, you add an ADU, or you do a lot split and add, you know, a house and an ADU and a JADU. So now you have 6 units where you had one. You can sell off part of that, pay off, you know, your debt, rent out the other 2 of the other 3, live in one of them, and now you have residual income. And so when we talk about generational wealth, instead of just talking about generational doing okay, now we're talking about, you know, generational actual wealth, which means, you know, you have enough income that you don't have to go to work anymore to pay your gas bill.
Absolutely. Now, Brent, that concept that you just mentioned is amazing, where you turn your one property into 6. But that kind of concept needs to be heard by the masses. Like, I think conceptually, people understand that, hey, yeah, I can build wealth with my property. I can do things with it to make money, right? But to hear somebody, and to be real, hear somebody that looks like, from someone that looks like me, right? To be able to share with them in an environment where they're not trying to take money from them, but they're genuinely trying to educate them on the methods that they can take to actually improve their position in life by utilizing their real estate. I think it'll be ideal, which kind of leads me to my next question. This TED Talk, this TEDx Altadena, seems like a fabulous platform for people to get their just stuff off their chest, their ideas, their plans, their goals, their wishes. But I'm curious, who hears this? Meaning, who hears this that can actually take some of these ideas and make the actual change that is desired? Is it policymakers? Is it who? The reason why I ask, and I apologize for stuttering and all that stuff, but when I think of TED Talks, I watch them and I hear somebody say something very amazing. I mean, you hear, you know, just really, really cool concepts, but I don't know what to do with it after that. So this is a different kind of format, but what literally happens with the information afterwards? Or is it just a platform that stays on the you know, internet and is available for recording? I mean, to watch it again.
So we have invitations, personal invitations, to people who shape policy.
Okay, good.
And so we have personal invitations for them to be in the room for the, you know, the LA County Planning Department.
Now, whether they come or not is different, right?
Yeah, from state government, from our California legislature, we have actual, you know, personal invitations for them to be in the room, right? And we've had some that have already responded and said that they will be in the room, you know. So that is the first line. But there's something really important to, you know, that happens with a TEDx event like this, and we recognize this, you know, acutely. Part of our design here is to create a live event where people have an opportunity to share their ideas. There are people there who have their ears open to hear their ideas, and so you know, it's this, you know, sort of town hall. That's only half the battle. The other half of the battle is that we're producing this like it's a television show, so that each of these episodes, every talk is like a little episode that hopefully will be picked up by TED.com and become part of their TED library, which means that it lives, you know, in perpetuity, you know, and is spread that way. But there's also something else that happens there. So all these, there are I don't know, 150 or so brand new organizations that have popped up in Altadena since over the last few months. There are existing organizations that have been active for years that are also, sort of refocusing on the present moment.
Sure.
They all now have, ideas that have been shared from will have ideas that have been shared from their TED stage or TEDx stage that they can now operationalize. So that can happen under their banner in their own meetings through their own organizations. And there's also an opportunity to have further TED branded events. There's something called a salon event, TEDx salon event, which is, more, it's less about speakers on stage and more about sort of, we can have the opportunity to workshop some of the stuff that's happened. And those can happen throughout the year. But there are a lot of opportunities to operationalize what's there. But the most important thing up front is just to get those ideas sort of cross-pollinated, because there are these siloed conversations that are happening. Some of them are aligned with each other, and some of them run counter to each other.
True.
And some people are working against each other, not even knowing that the other is there. And some are working, in tandem with somebody else, but they're actually duplicating efforts. And so it's an important opportunity to cross-pollinate those ideas as well. So the idea here isn't just that, we have a good kumbaya moment and then everyone goes home. You know what I mean? It's really,
that's why I was concerned.
Yeah. So that part is sort of all part of the plan, but it's also sort of an agile development plan that will change and iterate as new information is available. First off, we don't know what the ideas are yet. We haven't started to review the applications yet. We won't until after the 10th when all the applications come in.
Okay.
So we don't know what those ideas are. But as we are able to see and hear what these ideas are, we can sort of try to lubricate pathways for those ideas to be absorbed and potentially operationalized.
Man, that's awesome. That's a great, I like all the possibilities for this. One of the things you would mention is a possibility for one of the segments to make its way to the TED library. What's the criteria for that? Or is there a committee that kind of looks at stuff, or is it stats online and how many views and that kind of thing? Just curious. What is it?
That's all behind the TED curtain. We don't know.
It's nothing you know about.
Yeah, if they like it, they'll put it on the site, and we don't really know what that is. There is something I actually wanted to speak on too before I miss it, because at this age I'll completely forget. I think this is worth saying. The TEDx event, TEDx Altadena, is a volunteer event. The organizers are volunteers, so we're not getting paid. We're not making any money off of this. We're not charging an admission. We're not charging people to speak. We're not charging people to be in the audience. It's a 100% volunteer event with no profit to anyone who is involved with the planning or execution of this. So my wife and I are the Dawn and I are the organizer and co-organizer of the event. We also have there you go. If you scroll down, you'll see Joe. That is my bonus daughter. It's Dawn's daughter. And she is the one who manages this website and the social media and all that type of thing. And then we have Ash Level and Taylor Campbell, who you may recognize from Altadena Rising, not the radio show, but the community organizing organization. Those two are also part of our organizing team for this, and none of us are being paid. So I want to say that very, very clearly. We're not making any money off of this.
No, it's good to be known. Mm-hmm.
So we are, we are soliciting, support. So volunteer support, or in-kind donation support, or if you're trying to find a home for your tax-deductible donation, there's also a place for that. But all of that will be spent on our budget, which, we have things like we're providing food at the event because it's an all-day event. We have to buy that ridiculously overpriced stage sign that sits on the stage. I was amazed at how expensive those things are. Of course, to make a product that hopefully TED will pick up, we need quality video and audio and lighting, right? There's a little bit of
you're going to provide all of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought that they would. So they're just bringing their. Who's doing the camera work?
That's for us. This is independently. It's 100% independently produced.
So the only thing related to TED is the sign that you have to pay for. Everything else you got to make that magic happen.
Well, you got to make the sign happen too. The only thing that is associated with TED is the logo and the rules. They don't pay for us to produce these events, and we don't pay them to do the events, but we do pay for the entire production. And there are very strict rules about their branding and about what we can and can't do. And those were some of the reasons why we wanted to do a TEDx event instead of a town hall.
That makes perfect sense. How did you arrive at yourself and your wife being organizers for this? Like, I know you understood the benefit of having TEDx Altadena, but what made you want to be an organizer versus anything else, or having?
So, in order to have a TEDx event, you have to apply for a TEDx license to do it, and so we went through the process of applying for the license and were approved for the license. And then, the process also includes, trying to figure out how you're going to fund it. Most events, they charge. And so you might pay $150 to $200 a ticket to attend. And that covers the event, the cost of the event. Right. And so in our case, we wanted to hold it at the Altadena Library for a number of reasons. We I think most importantly, we're just blessed that the library is still there.
True.
But it's a beautiful mid-century building that we all grew up in, taking for granted. You know what I mean? Not really realizing the beauty of it until later in life you realize that it's such beautiful architecture.
Right.
So we are wanted to have it there, but it's also the library itself has symbolism besides it as a central focus of Altadena. Any library, a library is this curated room full of knowledge, and it's got ideas written in books, and it has stories written in books. But that room also represents the lives and the stories of Altadenans. For me, I went in that library the first time as a little kid.
Likewise.
And, the last time I was in there, I had a gray beard.
Right.
So my lifespan, I've been, in and out of that library, and so, it has sort of these representation of these, the roots of Altadena. It's one of the few institutions that's anchored so that it is doesn't just belong to East Altadena or West Altadena. It's on the west side of Lake, but it's also near and dear to everyone on the east side of Lake.
That's true.
And so it's a unifying place, and it's right there where we thought that we would lose it with all of those beautiful trees.
Yeah.
So when you think about the symbolism of where it is and why it is, and the rules that we have to follow, those rules are a blessing, and it ends up being for us this incredible opportunity to do some service. So I should mention, not only are we not being paid for the event, but as you mentioned earlier, I'm in the industry, in the housing policy. I also am a developer myself, and so that could be perceived as a commercial interest in doing this. I'm not doing any projects in Altadena. I'm not building in Altadena. I'm not being paid for anything in Altadena. I'm not coming back to my hometown to try to pick the bones, pick the meat off the bones. That's not not it. Everything that we are doing, my wife and I, and our planning team with TEDx, and us personally, we're doing for love for the city, and it is what it is.
Now, you are taking some of your knowledge and sharing that with people so that they can help move forward beyond the TEDx Altadena
Yes.
project, correct? Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
You do have that wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm at this TED event. I won't be on the TED stage giving a TED talk myself.
Okay.
You're just organizing. But I have been in Altadena ever since the first week that we were allowed back on the streets. So I was back up as close as I could get to Altadena, beginning the day after the fire.
Oh, good.
And I've been up people have seen me at community meetings and so forth, but I'm also working from my laptop, meeting with representatives from the state, from the governor's office, meeting with representatives from LA County Planning Department, and also meeting with people in various organizations around Altadena that are dedicated to the rebuild effort. I am not affiliated with any attorney. I'm not affiliated with any contractor or construction company or any architect. Not affiliated with anyone that's there to make money, though I do have conversations with people to try to understand the landscape and also to share, sort of my expertise and philosophy. I should probably just give my credentials related to real estate development, because that I think it's important that people know I'm not just sort of speaking off the cuff. I hold a degree in real estate development from USC. It's a finance degree. I hold a degree in urban planning, and also a master's in global supply chain management, which is really pointed at the idea of manufactured housing. My doctoral research is looking at housing production through an economic lens, and it's a degree in law and policy. So I am a housing policy guy. I'm a housing policy nerd. I also am a real estate developer. I'm licensed as a general contractor. I'm licensed as a real estate broker. I hold a PMP certification, and I'm a Lean Six Sigma green belt. All of these things I apply to my practice as a housing policy consultant and also as a real estate developer. So I can say without being arrogant, I do know my stuff, and I'm applying this to what we do here. That's separate from TEDx Altadena. I'm not looking for business. I'm doing this with my wife as a service to Altadena, and it's not connected to my brand at all.
Got you. You bring powerful credentials and expertise and experience to this whole situation, and we're glad to have you on our side. Plain and simply, I know that as a community, it's a little sly question. Are you turning someone down if they actually ask you specifically to build their house back, though? Put you on the spot.
I am unless it's my someone who's a close friend or family member that's asking for help.
Got you.
Right.
All right.
You know what I mean? But I'm not. I don't want to. I'm not taking work.
No, I understood.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering because I know we had Joel Brian come on, for example. He actually is a developer and what have you, but he didn't plan on doing some rebuilding, but he was tapped by a family friend, or basically told, "You're rebuilding my house, no question about it. You're going to do it," and that kind of led him to being asked to do some stuff for some other folks as well. I was just curious if you might go down that path. Now, I do have a question. Mm-hmm. You are meeting with these officials in this non-TEDx Altadena capacity. What are you doing with the information that you gather? Are you disseminating it back to the people of Altadena, kind of maybe simplifying it to kind of explain, hey, this is what's going on. This is kind of the direction the state, the government, the local officials are going. Are you helping people understand that?
So that was sort of what I was doing early on, is I was trying to educate about particularly things like SB 9 or SB 684 and 1123, which combined, both of those are lot split kind of ordinances, or not ordinances, but laws, and housing density law, which is constantly being updated by new legislation. But it's a lot and it's very technical. And so in public meetings, it's hard to kind of just start spewing out numbers and people are trying to scribble it down. So I kind of refocused my efforts on trying to get the institutions themselves to disseminate the information. And so the planning department has actually generated a brochure that explains SB 9 and how to use it. And so on that brochure, you'll see that you can do a lot split. You can, build out multiple houses on each, or on that original lot. You end up with multiple houses with multiple ADUs. It shows that. That's sort of a first step. I mean, there's so many layered ways to look at this, that at least that gives a start. So once a person gets that, then they understand, well, I could have 6 units instead of one. What else can I do? And that's the other part that I'm kind of pushing for is for more support for people who want to go that direction, because now that you understand that you could split your lot in half with SB 9, or you can split it into up to 10 lots using SB 1123. Now it's like, well, how do I do that? How do I implement that? Who do I talk to first? Do I talk to an architect? Do I talk to an engineer? Do I talk to a contractor? Where do I go? How do I do this? Does it 10? Can I really do 10? What does that do with setbacks? What does that do with air rights? What does that do, with parking requirements? There's a lot of questions that people have, and the county actually has a department whose job it is to actually help people navigate things like that. So I'm trying to get these resources tuned directly to the need, so that as people, maybe make different choices than just doing like for like, they actually have the support that they need if they're not a real estate developer themselves and don't know, exactly how to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So
that's good to know.
So I want to say this too. I did mention that when I came out, I didn't really see the policy stuff that I wanted to see, but the planning department has been incredibly open and receptive. The governor's disaster relief group has been incredibly receptive and open, and we are in good communication. They've been incredible. I hesitate to say they're a great partner, because that would be elevating myself to more than what I actually am. But they've been really great about sort of hearing and actually making adjustments based on a lot of our discussions. So I kudos to them. I think there's absolutely no doubt their heart is in the right place. They're using every tool they have to actually try to make positive change on our behalf. But there's a lot of mud that they have to wade through to actually get things done. And so, I encourage everyone to be patient with them, but also don't be quietly patient. Be vocally patient, because a government is responsive. They don't typically move without some type of something coming from their constituents asking for it.
Yeah, you got to ask for it. You can't be quiet. You got to definitely ask for it. I'm trying to update your banner real quick so I can put the website on there. While I'm putting that up, obviously you need multiple help from multiple angles. You love to have the performers, the speakers. You need some entertainment. You need some food. You need donations as well. TEDx Altadena. Okay, cool.
So let me say this too. We're not asking for donations from people who are displaced and trying to get their lives back together, or that's not. Please don't. There are enough institutional funds that will be available. that there are nonprofits and foundations and things like that that are, they're set up to produce this. So I don't want to push the idea of donations from people who are actually trying to rebuild their lives. That's not it. If they want to be volunteers, then we welcome their volunteerism, and of course we want to see Altadena in the room, and so we want to see them there. But from a support standpoint, we really are not looking for people to drain their resources when they need them the most.
No, that makes perfect sense. I'm glad you said that. Not that people were feeling that you were asking that originally, but it's still good to be clear. Again, I'm sharing the website is TEDxAltadena.com. As you scroll down, there's great explanation about what it's about. Go ahead and read that and get motivated. And there's also an email. It's TEDxAltadena2025@gmail.com. If you have some questions, that's a way that you can actually reach out. And there is their Instagram, which is at TEDx Altadena. Go for it.
It's actually TEDx Altadena 2025.
Yeah, I thought I said that. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I did.
If you may have, I just always mess it up, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, not a problem. In fact, I'm gonna add it to your banner just so people can see it. Let me hide this real quick. Let me edit this and then add this here. Save it. We'll throw it back up here. So there's a lot going on here. So it goes up there.
Right.
But so we definitely want to encourage folks to actually come. If you have something to say, go ahead and apply to speak. This is the second option down here. You go ahead and apply to speak or perform. As Brent had mentioned, they do need entertainment because it is a long day. It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that you're not just going to want to sit there and listen to people talk all day. So there needs to be that music and such. But there also needs to be support services such as food and just by lending a hand, just like it indicated. If you have time to volunteer, definitely come and do that. In addition, seating capacity is limited to 100.
Yeah.
So if you want to attend, please click the registration for a seat so that you can be one of the early folks to actually get a seat, because they will go quickly. And I think it's amazing what you're doing. And in particular, you know what, I had a question now. What's next? What happens after the success of this? I'm already claiming it to be successful. What's next? Will there be another TEDx Altadena? Are you going to parlay that to, let me see what you said, the TED Salon event? Are you going to be involved in another one? Or are you going to be looking for someone else maybe to take the reins for the next one?
So you know how you ask politicians if they're going to run for president, and they say, well, we haven't decided, I'm busy with the job I have, I think that's actually our official answer right now is let's see how this one goes, But the purpose of this is actually service. And so, the idea here is that if it looks like it's actually does more good than harm, then, that drives us to want to do more, I kind of feel like the idea of doing the salon events, it's kind of an opportunity for a unifying thing, but there's also something that's maybe even more positive about grassroots adoption with, individual organizations grabbing the stuff and turning it into stuff. You know what I mean? So if AltadenaTalks, for instance, says, hey, there was an idea we saw in there that we really like and we want to workshop it, and now we're going to hold some meetings and do, I think that's probably the thing that's probably going to be the most viral at this type of event is people picking up ideas and then operationalizing them. If we have to do salon events, then that's something that we'll look into after this and see if it's something that we need to do to kind of unify and spread and that type of thing. But we're really envisioning individuals and individual organizations grabbing these ideas and running them.
I think it's exciting. I'm glad that we had you come on. I'm not trying to end the conversation now, but I'm very happy. We got some mood music in the back, some theme music in the background.
Shaft.
My wife, she sits across from me. She does her work. It's funny because she's usually trying to get me to be quiet. But I'm doing the show, but this time. Anyway, I learned so much today, and I'm very happy you came on. And I didn't even know you were an organizer, you and your wife. I didn't know you guys were connected to it. I remember hearing about TEDx Altadena, but I didn't know that connection. And I feel even more compelled to provide some assistance because of your involvement with it. Not that I wouldn't have done it before, but even more so now. And I appreciate you for, sharing. Well, number one, doing what you're doing, but also sharing, the information to our audience. What you're very welcome, man. What do you have a message for people? Any words you want to share with people who are interested in both speaking and also attending?
Yeah. So first, I want to say I interrupted you with the email, little thing, making sure that 2025 was part of the email because there is an actual TEDx Altadena Gmail account that somebody apparently registered a long time ago, so we weren't able to get that one. Gotcha. But I interrupted you just as you're about to announce the social media tag, which is at TEDx Altadena.
Oh, right? Yes.
Instagram and Facebook.
The other thing I was going to mention, and in fact, I'll just share that. I was just on it. Hold on. Let me go to it.
So we're on Instagram and we're on Facebook. I think that there's a Reddit conversation that is starting up and some other stuff. So I'm not the person handling the social media. That's actually Joe, and so she's handling all that stuff. But yeah, so we are on social media, and the announcements will continue to roll out on social media.
Definitely, well. This is your Facebook page right here, and there's obviously some good stuff on there already. So definitely check that out, you guys. It is TEDx Altadena on Facebook, and then there's also the TEDx Altadena for Instagram, which is exactly the same thing. And in fact, hey, let me follow it. You got Brent right there making his speech, and you were on KBLA talking last Saturday, right?
Yep.
Yep, that's very good. So we definitely encourage everybody, number one, to go to the website first and foremost, because that's where you can sign up and do all that other kind of stuff. But you can also, obviously from the other websites, you can get here, but you can also stay up to date with what's going on. I'm sure they're going to be providing really good information the closer we get to the event to show, for example, who some of the performers may be and maybe some of the food that might be there, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
man, I think this is phenomenal.
Yeah. So, I think it's, as far as a call to action, we were just talking about the idea of support by way of in-kind donations or cash donations. That's really focused at companies or foundations or someone like that. Like I said, not for fire victims. And that's not a marketing thing for us. That's actually a principle. That's not, and that's the reason we're having it without a ticket price too. Because last thing we want to do is be taking money off of someone's bank balance who's trying to rebuild their lives. That sort of cuts counter to what it is that that we're trying to do here. So that's for them, right? But that sort of opportunity to show up as a volunteer, there will be plenty of opportunity and need for that. Just sort of people that can help us keep everything tight on the day. Make sure that people's cell phones are turned off and make sure everything's in order. And we're doing it on the main floor of the library, so that we're actually going to show the stacks in the background. So that the set for the TEDx event is going to be the library itself.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's not in the community room. It's actually on the main floor of the library. So that's going to be really, really cool.
It's sort of like the Tiny Desk concerts.
Yeah, like exactly, exactly. Yeah, that kind of a vibe. You know what I mean? So we're digging that whole, that whole setup and everything, and so that's the deal. That's the way that we're going to do it on the main floor. We'll have food and so forth. But back to the action items. I digress. So we also, want to have people who do want to speak or perform. Go to TEDx Altadena.com and fill out an intake form for that. The deadline for that is September 10, which is coming up. I guess that was a week and a half. So fill out your application. If you feel pressure on what you're submitting, submit what you have, and we can update, as we go. I know that people aren't professional speakers and so forth. So if they're struggling with it, also reach out too. If you have, something and you really want to kind of, get some guidance, reach out. We do have some resources from TED that can help you with that. And we'll have, for those who are actually going to hit the stage, we have a speech coach, for that as well. And then if you scroll down to the last button, to join the movement and to register for a seat. So there are only 100 guests there are only 100 seats. That's not just because of the venue at the library, because I think the library can hold more than 100. I know concerts that have been up there have been more than 100 people there, but TED has a limitation on the number of guests that can be there for TEDx organizers who are first-time organizers like we are and have not attended the TED conference in Vancouver. So that's the limitation this time. We hope to have that limitation removed if we do it again next year, but that's the limit right now. So hint, hint, if you are a volunteer, you're not actually counted in that 100 person. So,
so volunteer.
Yeah, I'm a volunteer standing on the, on the side of the room, volunteering, but yeah, so that's
that would be here joining the movement, right?
Right. There you go. Perfect. So those are my action items for it. And if you guys have any other questions about it, you got me.
I personally don't. I'm excited about the event. I know we will be there in some capacity, whether it be all three of us or one of us or two of us. We'll definitely be there to support. We'll probably do a volunteer just so we can leave the spots available for those who actually want to, attend.
Yeah, definitely that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I encourage the folks who are tuning in today. Hopefully you got some good value of the hearing from Brent. But if you have any questions, I should have been saying this throughout the show, but to definitely ask. And my camera went out. I'll bring it back in just a second.
We can still hear you though.
Yeah.
But Brent, I owe you anyway for letting me use that bike and saving my life from all the snap bagging that I was going to get taken down after that. And what makes it so bad, Jamal, this bike was better than all of theirs. So when I rolled up, it was like, and I wish I would have had one of those songs when I walked through.
Yeah, he's told that story a few times, man. So you definitely, it's emblazoned on his mind. You saved
That's the beauty of our street. I mean, Brent lived at the end of the street on the other side of Windsor, and everybody walked everywhere, and then the bikes came. Oh, and then Brent, I didn't even tell you. So, I was cutting yards, and then I borrowed your bike to pull the lawnmower in a bag. Oh, look at lawnmower boy. He over there pulling the lawnmower. He got a bike now. Then I got a wagon with the engine and the clippers. Oh, look at him. He got the train going. Oh. And then in 10th grade, when I got my car,
right,
same dudes at the bus stop, I said, no, lawnmower boy ain't picking you up. You ain't got no money for gas.
They didn't recognize hustle.
I even offered to pay some of them to help me. Man, I'm not cutting no yards, man. What's wrong with you?
They missed out. They definitely missed out.
A reputation for having brand new clothes on the bus stop. Come on, stop it.
Are those Jordans?
Yeah. All right. Well, how long that sole gonna last you? At the bus stop. Be surprised you didn't get jacked for him and sitting there in socks. Probably somebody who had a car.
Wait a minute. Do you remember putting duct tape on the bottom of your shoes?
Oh, bottom. I talked about that yesterday. The $5 fake Converse specials when they start clapping. After you didn't have kickball, my mom would wrap duct tape around and would make it so bad. She wouldn't even buy the color that actually matched the shoe. The shoes are black and she'd buy gray. So I have to take the Sharpie at school and they're trying to color the tape.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone through some stuff, man. So I know how it feels for some kid. And when I see a kid that doesn't, man, I feel for him. I would go and buy them some shoes. Some of my childhood friends are homeless. I go take care of them all the time because those are the same ones that was bagging on me, though. But I'm not gonna hold you to it. Because the first thing they'll say is, "Hey, I used to talk about your shoes," and now you're getting some from me. Isn't that great?
But, it's really interesting. We tend to categorize things that we want and things that we like as blessings, right? Things that are uncomfortable are not. So, you grow up in church and they have, maybe Wednesday night prayer meeting, everybody gets together and they give their testimonies, right? The testimonies are every time they got what they wanted. And then the prayer requests are, God, give me what I want. Give me what I like, right? And the only time
never help somebody else.
Right. But I mean, think about the actual reality of it. Every real positive change that's come in your life has come from something that you didn't like and was uncomfortable. You don't grow when you get the job you applied for. You grow when you didn't get the job you applied for. You grow when you get evicted. You grow when your marriage breaks up and you end up getting a divorce, or you lose someone you love, like a child or a parent. Those are the times when you grow. Those are the most uncomfortable things. Right. But how do you really classify blessing? Blessing is based on how you respond to it. Whether it's the loss of your home, the loss of a loved one, the loss of expectation, we have to respond and build blessing, with our gratitude, and our open hearts. And, if you think it's easy to say for someone who didn't lose their home, I didn't lose my home, but I lost my son in 2018. My son died at 18 years old, and I lost him, and I struggled to find a path forward, but really I realized that God uses the most difficult and uncomfortable moments in our life to bless us. And so if we can find a way to lean into God and lean into him with gratitude, then we find our blessing no matter what the circumstances.
Man, your son was acting, right?
So that's Austin. He's actually up north in law school, but his younger brother Chase was he was at NYU working on his PhD at 18 years old. So he kind of was moving fast.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we lost him in 2018. But these kids are loaned to us, and so I'm grateful for the 18 years that I had him, and I'm grateful to have known him. He was actually a kid that I looked up to. I actually look up to to his older brother Austin as well. These are some amazing people that I can't believe that God entrusted me with, and so gratitude is healing. Man,
my condolences, man. I didn't realize. I mean, we weren't in communication like that, but
yeah,
it had to have been tough. But I hear you about that gratitude. That is very true. Very powerful words that you shared. And we had one of the comments from one of our longtime listeners, Marcus, saying "Real talk" and thank you. We had a question kind of unrelated to that, going back to TEDx though before, about how many speakers there were going to be at the event. And, sorry if you had answered that already.
No, actually, I probably didn't. So we don't have the exact count yet. But doing the math, what we're looking at are talks that are roughly around 10 minutes. The day runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There'll be a lunch break, and there'll also be a morning break and an afternoon break. And then some of the time will be with performers. And so we're looking at really about 13 to 15 talks.
Okay.
But we don't know for sure until we select the talks and we actually have the timing on them. And so, we'll have an actual hard count, but that's our estimate.
Gotcha. And remind me on the selection process, who's doing it?
So, we have a rubric that we'll be applying, and it's actually the organizer and co-organizer. So that's actually myself and Dawn are applying the rubric. And so the idea here is that we're trying to apply it blind, so we don't actually know, who we're associating the criteria with. We're just trying to do that. And then once we have applied that, we have a score, and then we're able to do our second part of the process, which is trying to make sure we have balance. So we want to make sure that we don't have, some of the questions in the submission are about affiliation and so forth. We don't want to make sure that we don't have anything overweighted for people who are representing any one particular group or position or whatever. We're also, there may be two really strong submissions, but they're very similar. And so we're trying to give voice to, ideas that are, are varied. And so there's, some of that curation process will be outside of the sort of blind initial evaluation. But then we'll end up with our speakers that way.
You have to do it that way because you know too many people.
Right.
I'm not gonna let you in, buddy, but I got you. I got you over there. Just don't even worry about the process.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's so many factors to consider. So earlier we talked about the different ways that Altadena is divided, and so we're trying to make sure that we represent across all of those striations.
Yeah, we're very diverse, and that's what I like about our town. Growing up with diversity throughout the whole time you're here, so no one can come back and say, there weren't too many people that were represented by this particular culture, because we got it all.
Yeah, we got it all. And one of the things that I found is interesting is the national and international narrative around Altadena has been as though it's a black town, right? It's because of the notable black population. So, you've got Octavia Butler and Jane Kennedy and Sidney Poitier and all kinds of people who have lived up in here at one time or another.
Some that still do.
And some that still do, absolutely. And 81% of the black population owns their homes, which is 20 points above the national average, all races. And it's also double what it is in places, or nearly double what it is in places like Atlanta and DC and other chocolate cities around the country. So Altadena is unique and impressive for its black population, but the black population is under 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this
now
is
from 50 and 90.
Yeah, this isn't a black town. This is a diverse town, and it's filled with all sorts of texture. And when we were growing up, there was quite a bit of segregation. But over the years, we've done a great job of integrating. People have the black population that was sort of relegated to a small area in West Altadena and the top of West Pasadena. We're able to buy east of Lake, as far east as they want to go. Like I said, my uncle, who was an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, lived almost in Eaton Canyon. We went about as far east
That's
as
a
you,
big deal. Yeah.
as you could go, all the way over on Midwick, almost to Altadena Drive. So people, there's been a lot of not just diversity, but integration. And there's a significant Japanese population here. There's a significant Armenian population here. Of course, there's a significant Latino population. There are many others. I'll stop there, but because otherwise I'll name everybody but one, right?
Yeah, you're gonna miss somebody.
But there are people from all over, significant population sizes, and contributions to to our community. And so from our perspective, we want to make sure that voices that are sometimes missed are not missed in this moment. And so we're trying to make sure that we have as much diversity of thought and diversity of demographics as possible, age, ethnicity, where you lived in Altadena, as far as your Altadena geography, whether you were displaced or not, how long you've been here. Maybe somebody who's been here their whole life versus someone who came to Altadena because they learned how awesome it was. There are some who were in Altadena and ended up leaving, like Jamal. You moved to Arcadia. I moved down to the South Bay with my wife and I. So so it's important to have these perspectives because we're all Altadena.
Mm-hmm.
We're all Altadena. Yeah. So there we go.
Man. I think this was a phenomenal conversation. Definitely glad that you came on, Brent, for sharing the information. I think the TEDx Altadena is going to be an amazing event. We really encourage everybody to participate in any capacity that you would like to and can. And we definitely want you to come back on afterwards, anytime before if you'd like, but definitely afterwards to kind of give us a recap and what you thought went well. Or just overall how it went. Give your details.
I'd love to.
Yeah, definitely. Any questions for us or anything like that? Or you ready to start your day, your actual work?
Just a big thank you. I've been checking out your stuff. I'm not a Facebook guy, so I'm in the bottom of the pool. I'm in the YouTube camp. So I'm trying to build your YouTube numbers.
Hey, and thank you, because that's where all this stuff is archived, because Facebook now has a rule that after 30 days, they wipe your video off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've been doing that, and Instagram only shows it when it's live.
Okay. Yeah.
So we always tell people to go to YouTube to get the finality of it all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I watch. I have YouTube on an app on my television, a Fire Stick, free commercial, and so I watch. I have YouTube going in the background while I'm working a lot of times, and so that's where I've been kind of checking you guys out. Full disclosure, sometimes I had to mute because a phone call comes in, but.
And thank God we have good quality, or else it would not be wonderful to watch.
We appreciate you taking the time, any time that you have to watch it. And the same goes for everybody who watches us and supports us. We really just try to provide as much, diverse information that we potentially can. We try to keep it fun, real light, that kind of thing. And like Marcus says, that's how he rolls as well. He has it on his TV and he's on his computer. Yeah. And he's looking up. He'll chime in from time to time, even pop in on the show.
Yeah.
To share his input. But we thank everybody for doing this. Like Brian said, it kind of came about, on a humbug. It was a suggestion by me. I had to participate in order to make it a reality. We were able to bring Tony in on the fold and to the fold, and it's just been good. I've had more fun with this than I ever anticipated. And I'm very uncomfortable with being in front of people and doing this kind of thing. But, for the cause, it's a good thing.
Well, you guys
come back in communication with folks that I haven't seen in a while. Like you, Brent. I told Brian I saw you at IHOP on Arroyo. It was years ago.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't remember your name. I was like, I know him, and I saw you.
Yeah.
Right? And I felt so silly because normally I would have been like, yo, I can't remember your name. I know we know each other.
Yeah.
But before I got to do that, you kind of broke out. But I was really happy to see that Brian was going to bring you on this. So I'm happy to reunite with you.
Yeah, man.
I'll never forget Brent.
Yeah. Well, it was like on the tip of my tongue. And as soon as I think I had called Brian because I described you to a T. And he was like, oh, that's Brent Musson. I was like, oh, it was. Yeah, because I don't forget faces, but a name will, I'll miss it, in a second. But anyway,
especially at 56 years old, now I'm like,
I'm about to forget what I just did 5 minutes ago, but I can remember something that happened 50 years ago.
Right.
That's so crazy. That is so crazy. But yeah, man, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate being able to contribute and I'd love to come back, and from time to time, and especially as deadlines start to happen, or right before we're going, and about to have the show, stuff like that. So we can.
Oh yeah, definitely that. In fact, we'll let you know when we're doing events so that you can also come and check those out.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah, make sure your team gets us all, or I'll make sure I look at your websites and your Instagram and stuff. But as you get new documents and new posts, we'll make sure that we share them both on our when I do the announcements as well as on our pages.
Now, are you going to announce the people who are speaking?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll probably want to have you come back on and talk about those people so that they can actually get an audience.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll actually post them on social media and then also on the website. As we sort of a rollout schedule with that. I think that the Mimi Brown announcement that you guys just scooped is coming out. So that'll show up. But it'll all roll out, and we'll keep you. I'll just text and let you know what's happening, so you decide if you guys want to put it on the show or just roll.
Cool.
Everything on the show that's got something to do with Altadena, trust and believe.
Oh yeah. Mimi as the host is going to be really good. She's going to be really, really good. So for those who are just tuning in, we've had our guest today has been Dr. Brent Musson. He's actually one of the co-organizers of TEDx Altadena. Can you put his thing back up there, B? I just want to, thanks. So TEDx Altadena is actually happening on, it is October 26th, sorry, October 26th. And it will be at 600 East Mariposa, which is the main Altadena library. It'll be going from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The website where you can actually sign up to get, number one, get information about the TEDx Altadena, but also to sign up as a speaker, as a helper, to donate, and to actually get your ticket for your one of the 100 seats is TEDxAltadena.com. And should you have any questions, you can reach out at TEDxAltadena2025@gmail.com. Again, Brent, thank you so much. I'm going to let you get back to your day. We've been on for an hour and almost 28 minutes now.
We kidnapped you. You're looking for you. What out of APB?
Time flies when you're having fun.
I wanted an hour. It's like, okay, we're going to hold you for a little longer. It's been a real good conversation, man. We look forward to this event and having you back on again. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. It's been good seeing both of you guys. It's good to connect with my people.
That's right,
man. Good times.
Yeah.
So if you have to go, you have to go. We understand, but we're going to put you in the green room, and we're probably going to wrap it. I'm only going to make a couple announcements for what's happening today. If you want to hang around, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll definitely catch up with you.
I'll leave the laptop on, and if when I hear you come back, just yell, and I'll come back to you.
All right, copy that. All right, thank you again, man.
All right.
Take care, Brent. All right, man. That was nice.
Me and Jamal, we both try to be proactive. So I'll take him out, he'll put him back in, or he'll take him out, I'll put him back in. It's a work in progress.
Folks who just need to know there's a button. one button that either adds or removes somebody. If I hit it first and then he hits it, because we hit it usually around the same time, whatever happens first, the other one will, it'll reverse it. So we do that constantly. But in the interim, all I'm gonna do is do a couple for today in terms of announcements, and we'll do the rest tomorrow. So. Real quick, let me remove a couple of these. All right, so the only thing we're going to talk about is what's going on today, and we do have the Popeyes Foundation serving with love, the LA Fire Relief Distribution, which is happening today. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's at the Foothill Unity Center of Monrovia, located at 790 West Chestnut Avenue in Monrovia. It's drive-through, and it is first come, first served. So they're going to be providing high-quality food as well as hygiene kits.
So they're going to be serving their chicken, or these are goods you take home?
That's a great question. It didn't distinguish that. It's the Popeye
high-quality food.
So yeah, I don't know what they mean by high quality. So anybody go, feel free to report exactly what it is. Oh, if you have questions, you can text them. Why don't you send them a text and ask them what high quality food is at 626-703-2398.
Hold on. You said 626?
703-2398. All right, so Brian's going to find out what high quality food means. And then there is a men's healing circle put on by Dina Heals Wellness Center. It's going to be with Mike De La Rocha, who's an author of The Sacred Lessons, Teaching My Father How to Love. It's going to be today from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Paseo Outdoor Mall, 300 East Colorado Boulevard, Suite 151, again in Pasadena. So join us for a men's healing circle where men can share, connect, and heal together. RSVP at the link below, which is bit.ly/, all in lowercase, D as in David, H as in Harry, --sacred -lessons. And then today is the latest installation of the Jazz at the Paseo Summer Series put on by the Paseo and Soul to Soul Solutions in association with Jazzy Jams for Empowerment. Doggone it. I actually have, you know what? I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to take this off because I have the actual performer.
So the food they're providing is non-perishable food items. That's the high quality food.
Oh, interesting. All right, so this is what I'm going to put up now. There we go. So today, August 28th, 6:30 to 9 p.m., there is going to be G-Hack and Asia Ray with THC and Latin Nation Trio. So VIP tables are available. It's 2 to 4 people. Bring your own folding chairs.
That's G-Mac.
G-Mac. What did I say?
Hack.
Oh, my bad. G-Mac.
It's all good.
BYOB, $15 porkage fee from Noir. Advanced RSVP is encouraged. I just got this yesterday, so I'm not sure. They just put it up a couple days ago.
Yeah, but you've been announcing it already, so we've been talking about it.
But then we didn't have the QR code,
Yes.
so I guess they could have gone to their website. But you scan the QR code to go ahead and do the VIP tables and what have you. Again, it's at 300 East Colorado Boulevard in the main little patio area on the first floor. There will be a wine garden provided by Noir, which is their events venue catering, which is upstairs. But this is definitely should be a very nice event. Again, Tony, I think Brian has gone before. Gosh, my nose is all congested.
It says no alcoholic beverages permitted, but they have a $15 court fee. That's weird.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But I mean, it says bring your own beer.
Yeah,
Bring your own beverages.
And they charge them $15, but no alcohol.
It's a corkage fee. Then they're thinking wine. Maybe they don't mean.
Yeah.
Maybe not hard liquor.
I got a whiskey with a cork in it.
Maybe not hard liquor is what they're thinking about.
I'm not a wine drinker.
Who knows? But yeah, it was a very good show today. It was really nice to see Brent. I hadn't seen him in a minute. He's doing a lot.
Yeah.
And this TEDx event, TEDx Altadena, is really, really cool that he and his wife are co-organizers. And I'm sure it's going to be really, really good. And Brian just put up the information again. That's the gentleman we had on. Our guest, Dr. Brent Musson, doing the TEDx Altadena. Go to TEDxAltadena.com to get more information, to register, donate, grab your seat. It's only one of 100. So definitely grab your seat as soon as possible. But also, if you want to volunteer, provide some food, be an entertainer, definitely fill out the form. It should be a great event. Look forward to it. It's at the Altadena Library, 600 East Mariposa. Yeah.
I appreciate everyone that has come on, that joined us on Instagram, YouTube, our personal pages on Facebook, and AltadenaTalks. Without you, there would be no reason to do this podcast. There are a lot of people that are out there doing good things in Altadena. I don't like to knock anyone that's doing something for the residents of Altadena. So by all means, support everyone that's doing something. I mean, everybody has done what's in their wheelhouse. Juicy Little, Crystal Lopez, she does the farmers market everywhere, not just in Altadena, everywhere. You know, her warehouse burned down across the street from Farrell's Burger, where she used to keep all of her stuff. She had to go out and get donated stuff to start up again. So, you know, and Brent, same thing, just doing it without compensation. And that's what we've been doing since day one. I mean, I've been paying for this podcast out of my own pocket for 6 months until we got the grant. Now the grant pays for the podcast. That's what it's for. So, you know, I'm just thankful that somebody saw our efforts. And I'm thankful when anybody sees anyone's efforts. I mean, you got a lot of nonprofit foundations that have been around for a while, and you've got some, like Brent said, that were started up this year, ours included. The only reason why I added the nonprofit component to it is so that we were qualified to receive money to be able to run this podcast, because I lost all my equipment to make money, all my equipment from my businesses. I've been applying for business grants, not getting them, but I've been applying for business grants so that I can sustain my own personal life. If it hadn't been for my fiance stepping up, I would be homeless. So there's a lot of things that I go through on a daily basis that people don't understand. And everyone says, yes, I lost this and I lost that. But I stepped up the next day and said, it's not about me. It's about the community and how we can bring it back. I'm not saying this to bring accolades to myself. I'm saying this to let you know that if I can do it, you can do it. If you didn't know your house, you definitely can do it. You know, all you got to do is show up to the event. You don't even have to do anything. We just need the numbers. We just need you to be there. You need to meet your fellow residents. That's the whole point of Altadena Talks, so we can get Altadena to start talking to each other.
Well, and part of that also will get you the information that you need. Obviously, we provide as much as we can, but when you're out there meeting with the community and going to some of these events and volunteering and participating, you're actually going to be able to engage with folks and find out information they found out. You might be able to share some good information with them that they didn't know. Unfortunately, we're still finding out that there are people 7 months plus after this devastating event that didn't know what to do in terms of getting rid of the debris on their property. I mean, that deadline is long past, but There were people who didn't even know about that. And we have been talking about it from day one. Many other organizations have been talking about it from day one. And it's unfortunate that people aren't sharing that information with those individuals who are not getting out and about. So in addition to obviously get down and about and talking to people who are there, if you gain some info and you know of some people who are not, who are shocked, shell shocked, so to speak, still because of this event, go to them, share with their family, or physically go to them and share that information with them, because there's still people who really, really need that, because they're not ready to move on yet, or they're just starting. So that's
not only that, but if it didn't affect you, but you know somebody that it did affect, and you've watched the show, forward the link to them. I know a lot of people, I don't do that, or I don't do this. Well, it's going to come a time where something's going to happen to you, and you're going to wish that you were participating. Because then when that person finds out, oh, I remember when they shared this with me, I'm knowing this, let me share this with them. My family, they don't want me to post in our family groups. They just told me straight out, can you not do that here? But my family doesn't live here. They live in Ohio, so I get it. But there'll come a time when there's be a disaster, and guess who they'll turn to for guidance on how to get this started, because they know that I'm doing it. It's not a bad thing. It's just that at least you know. So, and we hoped that this show could become a prototype for other disaster areas to put together an epicenter of resources where people can always find out where things are going on in their town. Like, I'd rather go through a fire than a flood. I'm just going to tell you that right now, because a flood comes out of nowhere. A fire, you see it coming, you have time to get away. If a flood comes, and especially those flash floods that usually happen in the South, because the Gulf is full or whatever, you get no warning. And I saw the time-lapse videos. Those floodwaters were swallowing houses. They were reaching 5 stories in buildings. And that water doesn't disseminate. It took Katrina almost 2 to 3 weeks for the water to go down. People were still wading through it. And when I say nasty water, you got toilet water that was backed up into the floods. You got sewers that were backed up into that water. You got toxic waste that's backed up into that water, and you're wading through it.
Yeah, it was bad.
So, and again, FEMA at that time waited 2 weeks. Remember that?
Oh, it was bad.
It was bad.
Well,
and like San Antonio, FEMA waited 3 days, 4 days. They're supposed to be right there. The director should not have, until something happens to the people that are in charge, they won't grasp the capacity of the situation. That's just my personal belief. Because I watched this unfold, and it's sad. It takes celebrities to go and raise money when it could have been FEMA just giving everybody what they needed. I swear, man. The government is anti-government against its own people. Oh, we have the money to help you during the time of crisis. Oh, but we're going to sit on this. I have a golf tournament to go to. Or I have some press conferences to talk about this. It should be an automatic. San Antonio's flooded. FEMA's deployed. Automatic. Not let's wait to see how much damage is done. That's just my personal opinion. I do not, AltadenaTalks does not endorse this commenting editorial for myself. I chose to say this because I don't want people to think that AltadenaTalks, they kind of biased. No, it's me. Because I lived through this disaster, because I lost everything. And now I have a better appreciation for other places that lose everything. I don't mind donating to those entities because I know they're going to get the money to them, unlike the actual government agency that's supposed to do it on time. So, I guess we'll end it at that note. How about that? Oh yeah, I forgot we want sound effects. I just got that notification.
I know, I just started adding them.
Right. But, we want to leave this on a good note. I'm looking forward to see if any other podcasts pop up. I look forward to watching them. I hope those same people watch ours. It's kind of hard to not do a podcast and not watch anyone else's. So I try to check out everything that goes on in the 40-something groups that we share to, and it's a lot. And hopefully, usually I get the notifications of things. So I just want to let everyone know that I am proud to be a part of a community that has gotten together and formed these groups. And, some of them have been around for 10, 15 years. Not knocking you, but I bet you your activity was nowhere near what it is now. Because now that you've gotten the foundation set up, are you actually listening and responding to the people when they're asking questions in these groups? That's the question, because you need a full-time curator for half these groups. Special shout out to What's Up in Altadena. Even though they're a page and you can't share anything there, they still try to find as much information as they can to push it out to other people.
Their IG is pretty good. They share a lot on IG too.
Right.
Wait,
so,
I might be mixing them up, but yeah, they got good information.
Yeah, I mean, all of the ones that
626
say Altadena should be providing the information, not just your own stuff. That's why we share everyone's. We go and look at all these sites. And we encourage you to send us stuff. We might miss your thing. We might not be able to scroll all the way down.
There's a lot going on. We miss, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. I don't even know if Palisades or Hollywood Hills or Malibu are even doing any types of stuff like this. We always have an event. We always have something going on. There's always something to do to help Altadena residents. And what we need to do is get more of the seniors involved and show them how to use YouTube on their smart TVs, which is one of the programs that we are in the middle of developing, along with the youth media program and the media expansion project. So everything that we do is for the betterment of Altadena, and every place we try to reach is to give back to Altadena. I know this sounds bad, but I really don't care about any other place right now but our town. Our town needs my 150% attention.
I mean, AltadenaTalks kind of speaks for itself. You don't necessarily have to,
California talks.
And yet at the same time, we're, if something does come up, we will share. We definitely feel for those folks. But I mean, we got to, it's home. We got to deal with our home. I mean, I live there right now, but I was there. Kids lived there for
every last one of your friends are here.
Yeah.
So.
But I think, again, it was a great show. Look forward to having Brent on after this is over or even beforehand to give us some updates.
Right.
Man, can I have more of these type of guests as well, not just that technical stuff, which everybody, we need, but this is kind of a little lighter in a way.
Well, it brings perspective to
a diverse group of guests.
It brings perspective to the fact that we have a lot of intelligent people that are doing stuff for Altadena and from Altadena.
Oh, definitely.
So it's not just, us doing stuff. It's everybody that's involved.
Shout out to everybody. Yes, indeed.
So, what's on the agenda for lunch?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So I've been frequenting Sushi Stop right there on Raymond and Colorado because they have a $9.99 lunch special that runs from 11 to 4. And they got 8 or 9 different choices. So I've gone through 4 of the choices. I try to try everything. But those of you that kind of like soul food, they got a gyoza curry with rice. That's like the fried gyoza with the gravy. Woo, buddy, boy. You got to eat that when you're really hungry. Because that's going to be a gut sticker.
I'm actually thinking pizza.
But I'm only going to do Domenico's.
But I'm thinking pizza. I'm telling you, Mountain Mike's is bomb. Mountain Mike's, they just opened it up over by where Osh used to be. It's now Amazon Fresh So it's a whole
Oh,
little.
it's next door to that.
Yeah, it's next door. Well, 2 or 3 stores.
Is that where they're going?
I don't know. I just said
I
I'm
mean-
thinking. I just said I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure. I always
You got
throw
10
that out.
cents.
I've been talking
Yeah.
pizza for months. Every
Yeah,
time I
10
say pizza, my wife just laughs at me. She just looks at me like, She loves pizza too. No, I'm just joking. She can't.
I was about to say.
I eat pizza every day, all day.
Yeah, like when I go get that pepperoni, sausage, onions, and garlic. Ooh,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
I ate at Eldorado Pollo a la Brasas yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Best Peruvian chicken in Pasadena.
I'm just trying the sounds. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But it kind of went in line with that Peruvian chicken, sort of. Hey, we finally got this. That's an
Oh, yeah.
explosion.
Yeah, we need those to be a little louder so we can go like how loud the ending is.
Oh, we can do that.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Explosive.
I had it turned down. And we have this too.
Oh yeah. That's. I need to actually record some of my own. Put them in there.
And we can do all that.
And talk about my voice. No, I'm just playing. We'll leave that alone. Well,
We got a laugh track now too. All right, man. Let's get off this phone. I mean, off this show. Damn, how long
it's
is it?
still out there.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna keep going.
That was long.
Let me tell you something.
That's right. So, hey, it's Thursday. We made it over Hump Day. Tomorrow's Friday, TGIF. We're going to talk about what we're going to do over the weekends tomorrow. We'll have obviously more slides. I'm sure there's going to be more events that I add to it. There's several that I didn't talk about that are going to be tomorrow, as well as Saturday and Sunday. So we hope y'all have a fantabulous rest of your Thursday, and look forward to you tuning in mañana. Pretty sure Tony will be back tomorrow too.
Have a good day, people.
Peace.